Hi class, today we're looking at Chapter 5, Lesson 3, Solving Systems by Eliminations. You can use a system of equations to model the amount two students spend on school supplies. One way to solve the system is by using the addition or subtraction property of equality to eliminate one of the variables. This is called the elimination method. So we're going to solve a system by adding. To do this, we need to eliminate one variable. So we need to get rid of either the x or the y. So since the coefficients of y, so -6, and the coefficient of this y, +6, are additive inverses, add to eliminate. So if we were to add these, we get 5x plus 3x equals 8x. And then this turns into 0. -6y plus 6y equals 0. And that's going to equal -32 plus 48 is going to equal 16. So now we want to solve for y. So this would be plus 0. So we have 8x equals 16. They're being multiplied. Let's divide. 16 divided by 8, x equals 2. Then we need to substitute 2 for x in either equation to solve for y. So if we use, and it doesn't matter, but I'm going to use this equation. So I'm going to go 3 times 2 plus 6y equals 48. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 6y equals 48. Subtract 6 from each side. It's going to equal 0, so that crosses out. This is going to equal 42. So now we have 6y equals 42. There being 6 times y is being multiplied. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. Divide both sides by 6. Y equals 7. So the solution is x equals 2, y equals 7. Okay, try this next one on your own. Press pause, come back to me when you're done. Remember, after you solve for y, you need to solve for x. Okay, so you should have got x equals 0, y equals 4. I started out by eliminating the 3x. Those are additive inverses, and therefore I was able to solve for y. Y equaled 4. And then I took the 4 and I added it into this top equation for y and solved for x, and I got x equals 0. Okay, so now let's look at solving a system by subtracting. So if we see that the coefficients have the same value, then we can realize that we can subtract them. So if we subtract these, 4p minus 4p is going to equal 0. And then these are both positive, but if we're subtracting, we've got to subtract the 10. So it's really that this subtraction needs to be multiplied in. So this turns into a -4p, and then this turns into subtract 10e. So therefore this equals subtract 4e. And then if we take 2.6 and we subtract the 3.8, 8, we get a negative 1.2 And then we're going to divide. So then we have negative 4e equals negative 1.20. They're being multiplied. Let's divide by negative 4. These get crossed out. E is going to equal 0.30. So then we're going to take E, and we are then going to, substitute it, and I'm going to substitute it into this equation. So then we have 4p plus 6 times 0.3 equals 2.60. So then we get, multiply that in, 4p plus 1.8 equals 2.6. Let's subtract 1.8 from both sides. Isolating the p, those cross out. We have 2.6 minus 1.8. That's going to equal 0.8. 4p equals 0.8. Divide by 4. P equals 0.20. So in this case, because it's not x and y, we need to write out, so we should just leave it in this form. E equals 30 cents, P equals 20 cents. So I probably should have the dollar signs. Okay, so you try. So this is a word problem. Franklin and Marianne sells gourmet cakes for a fundraiser. Franklin sells 2 large cakes. So let's write this out. 2 large cakes and 6 small cakes plus 6 small cakes for $190. Marianne sells 2 large cakes and 3 small cakes for a total of $130. Find the cost of each small cake. So we want to solve for S, and you should use the subtracting method. So try this on your own. Come back to me when you're done. You should have got small cakes are $20 each. Okay, so now let's look at solving a system by multiplying. So we have these 2 equations, and neither of the coefficients are equal, so it's going to be hard to eliminate them. So what we can do is to eliminate, we can multiply the second equation by 2. So to do that, we're going to multiply this side, this side by 2, and whatever we do to this side, we have to do to this side by 2. So then we're going to have, and let's just recopy the first equation over here. And so when we multiply this in, we're going to have a negative 10x, yay, that's what we want, plus 2 times 3 is 6y, and that's going to equal 2 times 3 a negative 6. Okay, so now we can go ahead and subtract, or this way we're really adding them, but one of them's a negative, so that's going to equal 0 minus 1y equals -4. We're going to get rid of this -1 by dividing by -1. Y equals 4. So now that we know what y is, let's put it back into the original equation and solve for x. So you can choose either equation. I'm going to choose the top one. So it's going to be 10x minus 7 times 4 equals 2. So -7 times 4 is a -28. We want to get rid of -28. It's like subtracting 28. The opposite is adding 28. That's going to equal 30. This crosses out. We're left with 10x equals 30. They're multiplying, so let's divide by 10. X equals 3. So because this is an x and a y, we can write it in 3 and 4, this form. If you want to write x equals 3, y equals 4, that works too. Go ahead and try the next one on your own. Come back to me when you're done. Okay, so you should have got x equals 2, y equals 4. If you have any questions, check out my work there. Okay, so tonight your homework is page 160 through 161, number 3 through 9 odd. Happy homeworking!